My name's Elizabeth Carrington. By the standards of most, I lead a charmed life. I reside in a sprawling estate on the outskirts of Greenwich, Connecticut, a mansion that boasts more rooms than I can count, and a garden that rivals those found in European palaces. My husband, Jonathan, is a titan in the world of finance, a man who exudes confidence and commands respect. Our life is the epitome of opulence: extravagant parties, high-profile charity events, and vacations to the most exclusive destinations. But beneath this veneer of perfection lies a chasm of loneliness and yearning that even our millions cannot fill. Jonathan's ambition and drive, qualities that initially drew me to him, have since transformed into an all-consuming obsession with his work. Our marriage, once passionate and tender, has become a cold, sterile partnership. I am a mere ornament in his world, a trophy wife meant to be admired but not heard. It was during one of those long, languid summer afternoons that I first noticed him. Marco, the new gardener. Tall, with sun-kissed skin and a physique sculpted by years of hard labor. He was a striking contrast to the men in my social circle. There was an air of quiet strength about him, a sense of groundedness that I found intoxicating. As he worked, his shirt clinging to his muscular frame, I felt a stirring deep within me, a reawakening of desires long suppressed. I would watch him from the terrace, pretending to read a book while stealing glances at his lithe form, moving effortlessly through the garden. His presence became a tantalizing escape from my gilded cage, a reminder of a world beyond the confines of my privileged existence. Our first encounter was almost mundane. I was wandering through the garden, admiring the vibrant blooms and meticulously manicured hedges, when I found him kneeling by a bed of roses, his hands deftly pruning the delicate flowers. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Carrington," he said, looking up with a warm smile. "Please, call me Elizabeth," I replied, my voice betraying a hint of nervousness. "You must be Marco. The garden looks magnificent." "Thank you, Elizabeth. It's a pleasure to work here. Your garden is truly beautiful." There was a moment of silence as we both took in the sight of the roses, their petals of vivid crimson against the verdant backdrop. "Roses are my favorite," I said almost to myself. "They're so delicate yet resilient." "Like you," he said softly, his eyes meeting mine. There was something in his gaze, an intensity that made my heart race. I quickly looked away, feeling a blush creep up my neck. "I should let you get back to work," I said, turning to leave. "Anytime you want to talk about the garden, I'm here," he called after me, his voice laced with an unspoken promise. Over the next few weeks, our interactions became more frequent. I found excuses to be in the garden, asking him questions about the plants, the soil, and the best times for pruning. He was always patient, his explanations detailed and passionate. But it was the way he looked at me, the way his eyes lingered on mine, that made my pulse quicken. One afternoon, as I stood by the fountain watching the sunlight dance on the water, he approached me with a single rose in his hand. "For you," he said, holding it out. I took the flower, our fingers brushing against each other. The contact sent a jolt through me, a spark that ignited something deep within. "Thank you," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Elizabeth," he said, his voice low and earnest, "I know this is unprofessional, but I can't stop thinking about you. You're always on my mind." My breath caught in my throat. "Marco, we can't. I'm married." "I know," he said, stepping closer. "But I see the way you look at me. I feel it too." His words hung in the air, heavy with temptation and possibility. I knew I should walk away and end this before it went any further. But the yearning in his eyes mirrored my own, and I found myself unable to resist. The next thing I knew, we were in his little room, his arms all over me, showing me that he'd been yearning for me for a very long time. He did it better than Jonathan. He knew exactly where to place his hands, where to kiss, and every moment with him was just amazing. We became adept at hiding our affair, our stolen moments woven into the fabric of my daily routine. In the early mornings, before the household stirred, we would meet in the greenhouse, the humid air thick with the scent of blooming orchids. There, amidst the vibrant flora, we would lose ourselves in each other, our passion a fierce, consuming force. By day, we maintained the facade of employer and employee. To the outside world, we were nothing more than two people who shared a love for the garden. But in the quiet corners of my estate, we were lovers, bound by a secret that both thrilled and terrified us. First, whatever happens, you have one priority: your kids. This is the main thing to consider. I suggest you talk to a lawyer soon and also seek an appointment with a therapist. Don't take this on alone. Step by step, your life is far from finished. I suggest you go to some friends. Find an excuse to support in order to keep cool, then proceed from there to think about future moves. I also suggest you need to have lots of options at hand, with a clear mind before doing anything. Sooner or later, you will need to confront your husband, but take your time first. Take care of yourself. All right, next up, I Caught Her Today. A story simply titled, I Caught Her Today. I caught her once at the very beginning of our relationship, but that was less than a month into being official together. So, we talked through expectations and moved on. 4 years later, here we are in a trial separation because she needs to figure out what's right for her. It's a long read, but we talked it over thoroughly and decided we needed a refresher. Part of the plan was that she needed to get out of the house and start hanging out with her friends again, which she has been doing a lot, like going out 4 to 5 times a week. I never question or grill her, just wish her well and tell her to be safe and call me if she needs anything at all. We still live together but have been sleeping in separate rooms. I can hear when she comes home. Due to my fears of a repeat situation, we outlined our expectations going into this, and seeing other people was not an option and was very clearly off the table. Her mother also lives with us and is nice enough, but is pretty obviously poison in her ear and is very much an I don't need no man, all men are pigs kind of person. She also has slept with something like 15 guys in the less than a year she's been here. I always let the dogs out at 6 a.m. and just so happened to bump into her coming home. I was sleepy and muttered oh, hey, where'd you go? Just trying to be friendly. She came back with, Nathan stood me up, and her eyes got wide as she realized she was talking to me and not her mother. She's on Tinder again. I told her I was leaving and needed to get out of the house before I killed myself. Not being manipulative, I have a history of severe depression and was legitimately concerned I wouldn't be able to restrain myself. Her only response was, please don't go. I can't afford to rent by myself, which absolutely broke me. In my darkest moments, face to face with the person who redefined my expectations of love, the woman I was ready to commit my life to, my reason why, I was reduced to how much I contributed financially. The same paycheck she's been using to sleep around with other guys. I don't know what to do. I'm sobbing and shaking. I haven't slept in days. I'm messing up at work. I've developed a drinking problem again. I was 2 years sober and I'm ready to let go and end it all with a magnificent downward spiral. What the heck am I supposed to do? There is no reason anymore. Why should I wake up? Why should I care about my body? Why should I care about anyone? I have no friends, no family, and I mean none. I'm just naked, alone, and crying in an empty house. There is no bright side. I have nothing left. Dude, I'm sorry this happened to you. I can only imagine how hard and how terrible it feels to have someone treat you so horribly. I'm here to remind you that she is the one who is a very crappy person. She's the one who actually has nothing. It's not you. You have a heart. You gave her and her mother, which was way too kind, a place to stay. You have so much to live for, and so many women would match the qualities that you provide. This isn't the end of your life. It's now a beginning for you to get someone you deserve. This is a fresh start. Her actions have nothing to do with your worth. She is the liar and the unstable one. You have no issues whatsoever. Please remember who you are, and good luck. I was cheated on by my ex. And last but not least, a quick one titled, It Feels Like We're Just Going in Circles. On February 27th, 2020, I was cheated on by my ex. I guess you would say girlfriend. The only issue is that she admitted it to me right away that same night. But I don't know what happened. One of my classmates sent me a pic while I was on the way back from work of her sitting on another man's lap, and he told me she was really drunk and dancing on him. He then said they went upstairs together, but shortly after, he may have seen her leaving. This is her story as well. She says he was wearing the same brand of underwear as I usually do, and she realized what she was giving up, so she left. When I got home, she was waiting for me, and I broke up with her that night. She has really been putting a 110% into trying to get back together. But the affair partner guy is in some of my classes, and seeing his smug face on video makes it really hard to believe her.